Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation, where we talk about fishing and competition. It's your boy Ox Pippin, aka Ox Fishing. Don't come over here tripping. Hey, hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. It is one of my favorite shows because it's so unpredictable. Monday night call-in show, Ryan. What do you think?
I think we're doing it again.
We're doing it again against our better judgment. We're doing the call-in.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, there's been a lot. I mean, there's a lot people could call in and talk about tonight if they so desire. We've got a lot of events that have gone down. We've got upcoming events they could call in and promote. I would love to argue with someone about forward-facing sonar or maybe rules. Whatever they're hard to DP, whatever they want to talk about, we could talk about it.
Don't be scared. Jump in, folks. Jump in.
Yeah, don't be scared.
Here's
and seriously,
chance.
if you have some events out there that we should know about but don't know about, bring it in here and hype it up.
Yep.
I don't know if you're Seinfeld fans out there, but the airing of grievances, if you have a grievance out there you want to share,
I would like for somebody to call in and talk about this USA Bassin run at the Olympics thing. You know, they sent out a ton of qualification emails to hundreds and hundreds of people, and it doesn't seem like a lot of people have signed up for it. So I'd like to hear, kind of what's going on there is one of the calls I would love to have come in.
Yeah. So help us out, spread the word. If you've got a local group where somebody from your club wants to share something about an event there, share this over there, share it to your personal page. We're doing a Seaguar giveaway tonight. It's Seaguar night. So get involved in the giveaway, and then also share this around because there's maybe somebody that wants to get in here and share some information or at least have a good laugh listening to y'all share information. Jacob said he's on till Bob is on, then he's out. I don't blame you. Don't blame you. I hope we have a Bob sighting tonight. You never know.
He's always good for one call in.
Yeah. So we'll wait until we get a few callers in the queue before we start bringing them in. But I kind of rigged it to start, Ryan. The presenting show sponsor is Eco Fishing. We'll go through the sponsors after we get to our first caller. I don't want to keep them long. But Brandon Prince, who was the runner-up of that Bassmaster event, we had the top finishers on last week. He couldn't make it last week. He was in the mountains turkey hunting after his big finish on PK, but he's here today as our first caller. So let me get this queued up. We'll get him in here and visit with Brandon. Brandon, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, man. You're wearing your eco stuff. I appreciate that. We love Eco Fishing and what they do for the show and for the sport in general. But, yeah, congrats, man. Congrats on the event last week, and thanks for being willing to slide in here and talk about it, a week after the fact.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We got our Twitchers on, as always.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you knew this, Brandon, but we are on Twitch as well.
Oh, boy.
We don't know what Twitch is, but we're there. So you're on Twitch right now. Tell your friends.
All the kids are doing it over on Twitch, doing something over there. I don't know what they're doing. But yeah, man, we heard the stories from the winner of the event last week. We talked to Matt Ramey, who won Big Bass, but there was a story that you shared it on your post on Facebook, but people talking about, number one, the hot start you had to the morning. My son was even texting me about it after the tournament. Like, man, he was out to 90 inches in no time. And then reading your post, you sat on a giant, literally the rest of the day, and almost landed it. But first, tell us about your event and how you, what you found and how your day started on day one.
Yeah. So
the only day, not day one. Excuse me. I'm used to day one.
Pre-fishing, started out Thursday morning. Went, launched, covered a bunch of water, probably like 10 miles trying to find fish. Didn't find anything, I wanted to really fish. Didn't find much at all. Friday, I changed into the lake, went to the south end, got in some cleaner water, and ended up finding some fish that were, in a few coves that were cruising. And, just hoping those fish were going to move up. And I ended up pulling back out, from where I found those cruisers and started scoping around a little bit, because there was some standing timber there, and started seeing some big ones on, sitting on that timber. And I ended up, taking a big swim bait out and freaking cruising it by some of those fish just to kind of get a better look, at them, and ended up, realizing how big they were. So, come, tournament day after Saturday, I was like, man, I hope those fish don't pull up. I don't think they will. And, come Sunday, I get right in there and I start throwing the big glide bait around. End up catching, like a 17. I kind of cruising around, I found some, where those fish were kind of setting out. There was cruisers, and there's, on Friday, there was a few that were, set up on beds as males, little buck bass. And, I cruised around, kind of blind cast until, the sun got up, and I kind of pulled up, where those fish were sitting out on those trees, and they were there. I started throwing everything I could at them. Couldn't get them to hit, nothing off those trees. And I finally pulled out the old wacky rig and freaking watched that thing, because and where I was at, the wind wasn't bad, so it was dead still. So freaking watching that freaking wacky rig go down live scope, and that first one took it, and freaking just flew out of the trees. I don't know how, there was so much standing timber, but every one of them came out of those trees. But freaking caught that first one, got it in. I'm like, oh my God. And ended up going just a little bit farther, next tree, and freaking same thing, just right away, boom. And there's a bigger one that came up with that, that second one. And I was like, oh my God. And I freaking kind of just make a loop, come right back to it. And I freaking, that third one, that I don't know if it was just that same fish, that bigger one, but it freaking hammered. And, say hammered a wacky rig, but
it ate it very aggressively.
Yeah, it sucked it down and freaking, took off with it. And, that happened all within 15 minutes. I was like, oh, it's going to happen. And ended up kind of, moving through there. And, by that time, freaking, there was 2 or 3 boats. I guess they were fishing for some high school tournament, practicing for it, and they just kept moving in. I was like, man, I started talking. I was like, hey, fishing a tournament. I was like, I'll tell you everything you need to know, but getting all these, I was like, I'm just going to tell them what I'm doing, what's going on, how these fish are setting up. And I was like, maybe they'll just leave me alone, but no, they just continue to fish, freaking catching, fish off the bank, freaking right up next to me. And got a little bit ridiculous, but
they have a boat captain with them.
There was some that was just a dad fishing. There was some that was, had the, 2 high schoolers with them. It was everything, but
jeez.
What pound test leader were you using fishing a wacky rig around standing timber?
12 pound. I was using 12-pound Seaguar Statsu.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that. That'll come on through it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. But every one of those fish, came right out of those trees. Just, never once had them freaking digging those trees. So just luck, I would say. But ended up kind of cruising around. I knew I had some bedfish set, those bedfish that I kind of found. I thought maybe, they'd set up and ended up kind of cruising that bank and, found, another 16 right there to finish out my limit for I think I had 96 by 9:30. And I kept cruising around, and first time I went by, I didn't see this big fish. And I kind of went back out to the trees, fished them a little bit more, this other guy, kind of fished around with other guys. And then I kind of made it, another lap in there. And that's when it was probably about 10:30. Around 10:30 sometime, and I seen, this giant, set up, paired up with this other fish, it's in a foot of water. I mean, dirt shallow, clear, as clear as could be, dirt shallow, sitting underneath this lay down. And I was just like, oh, this is the fish right here. It's going to do it for me. And I can't, you never know exactly how big they are, but I literally stared at that fish for, 4 hours straight, essentially. And I can't say that she was 10 pounds, but if she wasn't, she was right there. Because, she was 24, at least 24, like,
Oof.
and that's on the, like, on the short side, but I started, trying to catch her, and she just started like circling out and coming back and circling out. And I worked her and worked her. And so I ended up kind of pulling out, a little bit, kind of let her reset, kind of fish those trees a little bit, but kind of trying to guard that spot from those other people. And I kept coming back in, and she just kept circling. I was like, I know she's going to lock on. So I just stuck to her. And with about 30 minutes left, she started nosing down on my bait. And I was like, just started getting excited. And I'm sitting on front of my kayak, like looking down, just watching the time. It felt like it was just freaking, seconds were, your minutes were seconds. And with about 5 minutes left, she picked it up. And I was like, I watched my line start swimming. And I just freaking just lay into her. And freaking, I just felt the weight and the pop. And I'm like, shit. This kind of, what the fuck, can I get my bait, like my hook back, and the bait's freaking gone. Like, so she just had the freaking end of it. And like, it was sickening, but like this, I don't know, going through that whole process, like I was still like on cloud nine, I had a good day, but like it was, gut wrenching, but at the same time, just like, and that was just a cool lead up, like just the adrenaline rush. Like, I don't know, I was satisfied. It's weird to be satisfied, not catching that fish, but it was just a good day.
Yeah,
all or nothing on that one though. If you got a hook in it, it's over with.
Yeah.
And to clarify, your smallest, I think, thinking back on looking at Tourney X, you had a 16 in your limit, right?
Yeah.
You're talking a good 8-inch coal, give or take, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was something.
Wow. So what all did you, over 4 hours, I'm sure you didn't just throw the same bait in its face every time. Maybe you did, but did you cycle through some stuff trying to agitate it, get it to bite?
And I tried, throwing some other stuff in it. I was throwing like a half ounce, creature bait, kind of changed some colors on it. I kind of threw like a floating worm at it, threw the Cinco at it, but like it was the space like she was at was so tight. It was hard to get anything in there. So, I mean, if I didn't have, quarter ounce or half ounce bait, it was tough, but I was cycling through some stuff, but it just,
yeah,
the way she was set up,
dramatic finish.
Yeah. I mean, I even set up on the back side of her, and I was like, man, I know if I freaking hook into her, this is going to be a mess. Being in, anywhere from a foot to 6 inches of water, it's like, I can't imagine having the fish this big, but, I tried it, but.
You still got a blue trophy out of it, so that was pretty solid.
I'll take the trophy. It's always been one of my dreams to have a blue trophy. So
we were talking before we went live. Brandon's fiance happens to work at the same place I work, and was in a class, and she was telling me how you were going to not focus on, but really get into the bass events this year, and that was kind of your goal this year. Because Brandon's been a TOC qualifier. He's been a hammer around Arkansas, Missouri a long time, but I just kind of chuckled when I saw you at the top of the leaderboard. I said, well, I guess he went over to bass and did his thing. wasn't as big a jump as he thought, I guess. And just jumped right over there and snatched that blue trophy.
Yeah, the whole way down there, getting that rain, they got, and I was like, man, it's just going to be a muddy mess like the championship they had 2 years ago. I was like, just talking, I was like, this miserable. I was like, man, I could be in the freaking turkey woods already. What am I doing? And freaking, day one or day two, whatever you want to call it, starts. And I was like, this is it. But
that's awesome. Yeah, you don't hear many wacky rig live scope stories, so congrats on that.
It just worked, man. That's all I gotta say.
It's old school meets new school, right there.
Can't argue with the results.
And wacky rig, go down 10 foot in a freaking tree.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate you taking the time to slide on here on the call-in show and share that story with us, because you hear of people wasting a tournament day trying to catch bedfish, but you certainly didn't do that. You did it in the right order. You had your chance, and I wish you'd have caught it, but it sounds like you had a good time playing cat and mouse with it anyway.
Oh yeah, it was definitely an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Solid finish, man. Solid finish.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll let you slide out of here. Once again, I appreciate you, man, and I'm sure we'll have you back on the show again, since it's so easy to click off these blue trophies. We'll have you on to talk about another one here soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right, see you, man.
See ya.
Right, Brandon Prince, everybody. Made it easy.
We got them lining up now. Bob appears to be in some kind of wrestling match with Rooster.
Oh shoot! Hey, Bob, I got two people in here at the same time.
Oh, well, what? Josh Evans too? No, I'm just here with my big white cock.
I was gonna say you're touching your cock down.
Bob, just stand by and let Josh has been waiting a little bit. Let Josh go.
It's all right. I just wanted to pop in and say hi before. I'm waiting on the lady friend to come out here. So
I can tell. You bet. Bob's getting cock whipped out here. I love the call-in show. Wow.
All right, Josh. Boys, I just wanted to pop in and say hi while I had a chance. So you guys have a good one.
All right. Bob. See you, Bob.
I think his jugular just got slashed.
What in the world is going on? Josh, you got to top that. What do you got for us?
I'm just sitting here with my big balls. That's all. Feel me? I got nothing.
Alrighty. What's going on? You had a house guest. Over the weekend, didn't you?
I did. Oh, baby brother himself, Jordan Marshall, a.k.a. Raw Road Doggin. He was up here.
He made the trip up, huh?
He did. Go ahead and ask him. He said he hates the Potomac, but that's because he didn't catch no snakehead or any big bass. But he did get some good food.
I saw his post. I didn't know you cooked. You ain't cooked for us yet. What's going on?
Because you ain't asked.
Oh, okay. I see how it is.
All right. Hey, here. Pinky swear promise right now. Susky house. I got you, fam.
All right. Deal.
But yeah, man, I was calling because I've been kind of absent the last few weeks. Been doing a lot of things, getting ready for the season. And, this weekend I put in a little work. You feel me? So I wanted to come out here and say what's good.
What do you got going on?
Well, Jeff already knows he's seen the baits I've been making.
Oh.
That's been a fun little undertaking, had a little early retirement, so I figured I had to do something to keep me busy.
Yeah.
But this weekend, man, we went out to South Potomac. Steve, pay attention to Steve-O. Listen, a lot.
Uh-oh.
All the fish was apparently on beds. I didn't know that. I didn't get to pre-fish, but we got the pool table too, Ryan. By the way, it was good.
All right. Okay.
Anyways, so I didn't get to pre-fish, so I decided to fish history and went out to the same launch I launched at last year where I won the thing and got, big bass. Anyway, so I went out there and fished, and after figuring that my old place was a ghost town, I did some running around and found out that most of them had already moved up into some real thick grass where they were bedding down. It's pretty much opening weekend for tournaments here in the DMV area. So lots of traffic, lots of boat traffic. Day one, had some old boy. Now, excuse my language. I'm going to quote some things word for word here. But anyways, so I'm on my Torquedo doing my thing, just sliding, past somebody. There's a good distance between us. I mean, I couldn't hit him with a cast. I know he damn sure couldn't hit me with one, right? And this big old boy catch a 5-pound bass. And as I'm motoring by, he said, "Oh, all y'all motherfuckers in kayaks are faggots. Do the same thing. You see somebody catch a fish and come and sit up on top of their fish." So, I let him know how I felt. In excessive Josh format, you feel me? And shut him down a little bit. Well, I proceeded forward. I was still so mad, I was shaking. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna leave it be. Get to my spot. Got an hour left. First cast. 20.5-inch bass. So, of course, I held it up and yelled, let him know, "Hey, dog, I find my own fish. Here they are. Keep watching." And then over the next hour, proceeded to catch another 17 fish in the same hole. 17.
I like it.
Yep. I was even letting other people come over. I said, come throw your bait in here. You need a limit. Come on, throw in. Because that's the neighborly thing to do. And I kept letting guy know every single time I caught a fish, I hold it up, holler at him, and I tossed it in the water. So day one finished. We had 3 trails: Mid-Atlantic Kayak Bass Fishing, Chesapeake Reel Masters, which is the new kid on the block, and Northern Virginia Kayak Bass Anglers. And we were all holding events, kind of simultaneously, get all of our members, joined in. We ended up with like 72 signed up for one tournament, 60-something in another, right? And I ended up walking away with big bass on the day and a 3rd place in CRM and then a 4th in both MAKBF and NVKBA. Day
Pretty
2,
solid.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of my favorite places. I only fish it twice a year, funny enough, but I always seem to do pretty well. Yeah, day 2, the wind was just retarded. It was like 20 miles per hour right in your face. And so, that messed with my spot quite a bit. The tides changed, so I had to adjust. And anybody that knows what they're doing knows they got to adjust when conditions change, And about halfway through the day, actually, it was about almost the same time as I caught big bass the day before. I was in another spot, and Carl, the director of CRM, was there fishing by me, or taking pictures of me, should I say. And I told him, I said, man, I got a hunch. I need to change over to this one color. And I did it. And then the next cast, boop, I'm on. And it's, I said, hey, dog, I got big fish in the tournament again right here. Go ahead and get over here with your camera. And it was a 20 and a half, or a 20 and a quarter, my bad. And sure enough, yeah, I bagged down a big bass for MAKBF and CRM yesterday as well. And then I think I finished in like 6th and 8th, respectively, in those tournaments. So pretty solid weekend. Pulled down a little pocket change, you feel me?
What was the parking situation that Marshall posted about?
Yo,
he said he
okay.
might have had to take an Uber from his truck back to the boat
Yeah,
ramp.
so on the Tidal Potomac, there's a ton of public ramps, but for the big bass boat tournaments, there's only like 2 or 3 marinas that or state parks that have enough capacity for that, right? Because when they hold events, I mean, every bass boat tournament, 70 to 100 boats, easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Delaware Bass Nation and PA Bass Nation both decided to have their first term of the year out of the same park that me and Marshall launched out of.
Okay.
And it was a bit of a cluster. It's funny. I woke up at 3:30. Launch wasn't until 5:45. I said, hey, dog, you might want to wake up. I'm leaving. And he's like, what time is it? I said, man, I'm the last one here. It's 3:30. And we had a house, right? And he said, I ain't never in my life woke up at 3:30 to go to a launch at 5:45. I said, you ain't been around here.
That's
yeah, and I feel it because you know how I like to sleep in.
I know.
But so anyway, so I get there and sure enough, man, I'm about half hour from the gate opening and there's already a quarter-mile long line. And I said, okay, this is going to be fun. And I get in there, I launch on time and everything. And I'm going back to park my truck. And I had good parking already lined up, so I wasn't really too upset. But I come back and I see Marshall sitting in the line. I said, oh, that's going to suck for him. Sure enough, man, he said he took him an hour to get launched and parked. Now, I will say as a disclaimer, that normally does not occur. I've launched out of that same launch a bunch of times, and I never had a problem like that. And they do have a lane specifically for only kayaks to launch their trailers. So the boat, and once you get past all the boats in line, it's real easy in and out.
Well, that doesn't sound too terrible.
No, it ain't. And I'll tell you what, man, like it was so right. The whole river was full of grass. I mean, there were so many different places you can go and catch quality fish. Just, especially with a lot of folks coming from out of town, they Google it and then they just all go to like 1 or 2 places, which to me is crazy, but whatever.
So you're saying you think there could be another Bassmaster up there? You think you can run one? And
I mean, I already taught, MAKBF, my trail, my TD, Aaron Fetterman said he would be super excited to partner. And I've already been in Steve-O's there for the last like 2-3 years straight. So, I mean, that's something I think we should make happen. But yeah.
Can it get enough support from the local group? I mean, you said y'all had 60 and 70 anglers. Do you think they'll come out? Because the last one was, 30-something people that Ike famously won?
Man, all right. So let me give a little history on that real fast. I ain't trying to take up the whole show. But
we ain't got nothing to do, buddy.
There was another dude. There was another dude running things, not Steve-O. And Steve-O was helping, but Steve reached out to me and said, hey, you said you wanted to have an event out there on the Upper Bay. And I said, yeah, but I really want it to be April or May because that's when the fishing is good. After that, it gets choked out and pleasure boaters, Well, big dog, not Steve-O, but other homeboy, opted to not heed that advice and booked it at the end of summer when every pleasure boater in the world is out there and the fishing is absolute trash. And the locals know this, so the locals did not show up or show out.
Gotcha.
Now, I'm saying if Bassmaster was to join us this time, this is a different body of water, and this is the prime time. I would stake my life and name on it. I'll tell you that.
All right, then.
I'll be holding up a blue trophy at the end, too. I'm going to let you know. I'll put that up now.
You're calling it. Calling a shot.
Yes, sir.
Be over in that bass boater's hole.
That's what we're trying to get in my hole. Hey, speaking of holes, hold up. So your boy Brandon that was just on, when he was describing catching that fish and trying to catch that fish, I was picturing my dad's old novels when I was a kid, the ones I was finding tucked in his drawer next to the VHS tapes. Boy, god damn.
What?
You did?
What?
Hey, after this episode, I want you to go back and listen to it. If you close your eyes, he ain't talking about no bass, bruh. He said I wiggled it a little bit. She circled back. I put it in. I pulled it out. It was just, you got to listen. It's a lot, man.
Oh, yes.
This is why we only do call-in shows 4 times a year.
It's quarterly.
Bro, I didn't do it. I'm just saying what I was thinking.
You just reporting the news.
That's
all I do. You feel me? Facts.
That's how you
All day.
interpret it. It's interpretive art. That's what it is.
Oh,
Hold
my
up.
gosh.
Hold up. Let's look.
Okay.
There go one.
Dang.
Oh, there go one.
Dang, Josh.
There go one. I'm just saying, bro. We out here doing things.
Dang, Blake. That's rough.
Dang.
That's hard.
Oh, my gosh.
Man,
Hey,
we
it's
got
good to get back on the water. I got to share my joy. You feel me?
Hey, we got to go ahead and get a Susky house booked, by the way.
Hey, you want to do that? You good at that, man.
Sure.
Go talk to,
Yeah.
talk to
I love that.
old Rockabilly Elvis. See if we can't get to church again, man.
Okay. I'm down.
I would love that. That would be just woo-wee.
Little throwback.
Yes, sir.
Well, Josh,
But anyway,
you're one of the made men of the call-in show. You're always on here. We always appreciate you being on here. You and Jay Fish always make it interesting around here.
hey, there ain't gonna be no wigs this year, man. Strictly business.
All right.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. All right, man. Take it easy. Congrats,
All right,
buddy.
love y'all. Later.
All right. See you, homeboy.
Now this next one, Brian, I'm glad he's calling in because I meant to give him a shout out when I saw him on that leaderboard from PK, the originator of Why Dick Open, Billy Bowden. What's up, Billy?
What up, boys? Am I on here?
You froze
Yeah.
mine.
How did we not see you at PK? Where were you at?
Dude, I was drunk for about a whole week.
Exactly. How did I not see you at PK?
Yeah. No, I was at Boondocks several times. I went there. What was the day that they canceled the tournament? I went there. I was like, Lambert's got his name all over this place. I was like, we go.
Yeah, me and Jeff jumped in some cornhole tournament out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, well. Anyways, yeah.
That's the only night I wasn't at Boondocks, I think.
No, that's where we went wrong right there. But yeah.
Yep, made a left when we should have hung a right.
That's right. Yeah, I'm not a big cornhole player. I get mine every time.
Well, we thought we were till we got there.
We got
yeah.
gated.
Thanks.
It was tough. It was a humbling experience that night.
Some of them boys, yeah, that's all they do.
So how did your tournament? What'd you think of PK?
Man, PK reminded me a lot of home, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jeff could vouch for that.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah, Beaver Lake, Table Rock, it reminded me just like that. The only thing it didn't remind me of was, well, I guess it did remind me of it because it was so damn tough. I caught like 2 fish and like 3 days. 3 days out there, throwing, chunking, winding, trying to cover water, trying to figure out some kind of pattern, and it wasn't happening. And they canceled day one. I was like, thank God, maybe I can just go out there and throw a glide bait all day long, the only day of the tournament. So I had 3 glide baits tied on, went out there, threw all 3 of them. They didn't even get as much of a follower. I didn't even get a follower on that. I was like, nah, probably not going to happen there. So downsize, back to a spinning reel, which I do not throw. And threw the old spinning reel out there, and I was like, well, we're just going to fish shade all day long because we were protected by the wind for a reason. I was like, I'm just going to go out there and throw glide bait. And went out there, it was dead still, bluebird skies. There was no wind, especially on the side that I was on. So went out there and threw the old shaky head around some shade and got bit, but it was not the fun thing that you wanted to do at all.
It wasn't the Hammerfest that I felt like we thought we were walking into out there for sure.
No, not at all. I thought it was going to be like a record-breaking weekend, and went out there and caught 2 fish, and I was like, well, somebody's going to break some records. It ain't going to be me.
I knew when Matt Scotch was saying it's gonna suck, that there was probably something to that, because usually Scotch is like, oh, I got this, I got 111 inches, in the bag over here, and I was like, hold on a minute.
That's what's wild is I seen Scotch like pretty much like every day I went out fishing, and I was like, well, I got to be on something, right? And like now, every time I talk to him, he's like, dude, it's even the tournament day. I launched with. What's crazy is, I divided up how many anglers there were like per boat ramp, and it was supposed to be like 9 anglers, 10 anglers per boat ramp, or actually probably more. It was 16 boat ramps and 172 anglers, and I told myself, I was like, well, it's gonna be, we're gonna have some company. I show up to the boat ramp. There's one other kayak out there.
That's crazy.
All right, well, I was like, well, I either did terribly right or terribly wrong. Yeah.
I don't think there was a wrong move on that lake. I think it was, a lot of it was wrong. And, talking to Jason Isaacs, he just stumbled up on one dock. And what did he say, Jeff? He pulled 3 or 4 big fish.
Over 20 and a 19 or something and 3 casts, some craziness like that.
Yeah.
And he struggled pre-fishing as well. He struggled pre-fishing. He was going to go home early until they canceled day 1.
I had planned on doing the same thing, because I was like, man, if day 1 treats me the same way that practice did, I'm leaving. Take advantage.
Luckily, we didn't have to worry about that. Thank you.
Let me ask you this, Billy. Did you run away from the clear water or fish it?
I ran away from the water at first practicing. Well, first day of practice, I fished around where we stayed at, and it was clear water. But I just got live scope and all that bullshit, and started scoping around. I'm like, oh, these fish have already done their thing. They're chasing bait balls. Like, this is not my game at all. So the second day, went to some dirtier water and caught one right off, like first cast. And I was like, oh, this could be good. No, nothing the rest of the day. And so it was real confusing. But yeah, I tried chasing the dirty water and tried to throw some, moving baits and stuff that I'm more comfortable with, but it wasn't happening there either. And I just pretty much threw a dart at the map the only day of the tournament, and just got lucky.
Good stuff, man. Well, I was pumped to see in the top 10. I apologize for not giving you a shout out last week when we were talking about it, because I saw it. And I thought the same thing as Ryan. I was like, how did we not run into Billy?
I know. I was like, Billy's here and he hadn't hung out with us one time. This is disrespect out here, man.
Yeah, it's insane.
No, it wasn't that. I think it was doing some other shit.
Yeah.
As long as you had a good time, took home some money, that's all that counts.
Yes, sir. So,
well done, my friend. We're happy for you, proud of you. Wide Dick Open over there on PK. That's you.
Love it.
See ya.
All right, we'll see you down the road, man.
Billy Bowden, everybody.
Ain't seen him in a minute, man.
Speaking of who we hadn't seen in a minute,
dun,
next
dun, dun.
caller in the queue, the Wizard.
You look happy. You look happy, Romel.
Man, living the dream, right? That's how we do. How you guys?
You getting after it, huh?
Oh, dude, it's been crazy, man. It's too busy. Can't even fish, but it's all right.
How's the Newport game going? Looks like it's blowing up.
Oh, good. It's absolutely insane, man. It's definitely can't complain, that's for sure. It's a lot of fun. We're enjoying it right now. Got some cool stuff coming out in ICAST, so we're excited about that.
All right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this 180 Pro, because we've had a lot of people asking questions even today in our group chat. Tell us the difference between the original 180 and the 180 Pro for those that don't know.
Yeah, so 180 Pro, I mean, 180 came out 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. So basically, kind of listened to what was going on, just kind of, went through all the deficiencies and, just reworked it. So spent a lot of time kind of going back and forth, deciding on whether or not we're going to go a little bit bigger as far as like the unit. We ended up staying with the same size. So it's exactly the same size, exactly the same weight. Different driver board, Internals are pretty much all different than the NK 180. Props a little bit bigger as well. Went from the 6-inch to a 7-inch prop, so 1 inch larger in diameter.
Inches matter.
Yeah, well, it's that type of game. So but no. So we were able to gain pretty much in every respect. So we gained efficiency. So you get about 25% across the board in efficiency,
wow.
except at the top end, of course.
Yeah.
And then you got because wide open is wide open, don't matter what you're running. But so we got quieter, about 50% quieter in certain ranges. There's a couple spots where we couldn't, just because of the brushless motor just makes noise. But definitely, quieter than the NK 180. And then we bumped the power from 500 watts up to 600 watts. So you get a little speed bump at the top end.
Nice.
And then also, so we went away from the old controller, which was, a little problematic. So kind of learned from that. We went to the same controller as the NK 300. So it shares the same controller. So all the upgrades that the NK 300 controller got, the NK 180 Pro got.
And those can't be retrofitted, correct? Like you can't use the NK 180 Pro on the original NK 180.
No, unfortunately not. And that goes with a lot of things. So a lot of people are asking, because the prop is bigger, they're like, well, can I take the NK 180 Pro prop and put it on the regular NK 180? It's like, no, you cannot. The NK 180 Pro runs at a different RPM range. So you try to put that prop on a regular one, NK 180, and you're going to cook that board. So
gotcha.
So it runs at a different speed for sure. And then one thing that we did that I spent a lot of time on was adjusting the throttle curve. So if you're familiar with the NK 180, when you go up to like 20% throttle, you're doing like 2 miles an hour already. And then once you get up to like 80%, the difference between 80% and 100 is really not noticeable. It's very like tiny, right? So the NK 180 Pro, I basically made the throttle curve linear. So at 50% throttle, you're going 2.5 miles an hour. At 100% throttle, you're at that 5. So if you're at 80%, 90%, and you go from 90% to 100, there's definitely a difference. Like top end is 100. So what that does is it gives you a lot more adjustability from 0 to 50% throttle. So you get a lot more range. So if you're trying to match current, you have a lot of room that you could play with, instead of like all the old NK 180. It was like kind of on off switch almost. It was like, you get it to like 20 to 30% and you're already moving like 3 miles an hour. So I spent a lot of time actually tuning that portion of the throttle curve. So it's definitely a lot more adjustability on as far as speed goes.
It's science. There's science there.
Yeah, throttle curves, and I spent so much time on that stuff. So, but yeah.
What do I need to put on my autopilot to make it go fast?
NK 180 Pro or NK 300?
All right, I'm gonna have to. I'm leaning toward a 300, to be honest with you. Like that's a lot of boat to move. Like I think it's gonna take some juice to get her going there.
Sounds like VP.
That's always the $1 million question, right? It's like, but when we talk about speed, it's not the motor. The motor can push, it's the hull speed, right? Yeah. We always reach that hull speed, and that's always going to be between 5 and 5.5 miles an hour, regardless. Like 12 foot to 14 foot boat, that's where it is. So, like I tell people, like NK 180 Pro at 600 watts will push a PA 14 like 5.2, 5.3, right around there, right? And in order to get 6.3 or 6.4, you need to throw another 600, 700 watts at it to get that. You're at 1,300 watts to gain 1 mile an hour. So it's not the motor output. It's just the hull, the dispersion hull. It just won't go any faster. Like you have to throw a ton more power at it in order to do it. So if you really think about it, the NK 180 Pro is like perfectly matched for pretty much all kayaks out there. Like the top end is the most efficient That's as fast as you can go, as efficient as you can go, right?
Yeah. Top Shelf
But-
on YouTube, he just said put a 300 on Jeff's old Predator and see what she's got. And I was going to bring that up. Like if you really want speed, adjust
faster
your
boat.
hole shape.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
Adjust the boat you're using, not the motor you're putting on your big, wide, squared off boat. Get one made for speed.
Why do you think Old Town put the EPDL on that platform?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a rocket.
Because you put that EPDL on a autopilot, and it's going 3.5 miles an hour. Like it's not going 4, like or whatever. I think 4.5 that they push, whatever. But it's just get dare I say, Nuclear Pursuit, it's fast. Attack 140, which is discontinued, fast. It's just 14-foot boat. It's narrow.
Yeah. Is that the fastest boat that you've seen as far as hull speed goes? Is that 14-foot Attack? I think it's probably
Attack 140.
Yeah, I think it's probably top of the charts.
Let's go back to a tarpon. You still make tarpons? Slap that thing on a tarpon and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, as far as like quote unquote fishing kayaks, right? Or what we're talking about is like, you can the Kraken, I think.
Oh yeah.
That's more of a
that's kind of like a tarpon boat kind of boat.
Yeah, exactly. Same shape. Same thing.
You can get upside down quick in one of those. I remember Nick Brown had like the first one. We fished a tournament in the wintertime in North Georgia. There was snow on the ground, and he went to get in that thing in about turn.
Yeah.
I mean, super narrow, super fast boat, but it's so narrow. You know, there's always trade-offs when you start messing with your hull shape.
Of course. And I think, honestly, like if you want talk to Guillermo G about speed. Like that's why he's on a Pursuit.
Yeah.
Because you put a 300 on a Pursuit, like I was hitting 7.4, 7.3, like right around there. You want to go fast. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is, right?
We got a good question from Facebook for you, Ramel.
Yeah.
How much more efficient is the Pro going against current / upriver than the OG 180? Like, where does it sit between the OG and the 300?
It's actually a lot more. The efficiency actually matches the 300. So if you're familiar with the 300, the efficiency at like 3 to 4 miles an hour is really good. Like you're sipping, watts at that point on that motor, and that's what's cool about it. So what's nice about the 180 Pro, it doesn't have that top end, but the efficiency is almost the same. So at that 3 to 4 miles an hour range, it's going to be as efficient, but still not going to have the torque of the 300. The 300's got, big old prop, but downside is the 300 is heavy and has that big old prop. So
yeah,
if I was in the river, I wouldn't be scared with an NK180 Pro. It pushes at 600 watts. It pushes really well. So I think Brandon Mays, that bass fishing dude, he did a video with him and his buddy. I think it's on his Instagram channel. And, that guy's big. I mean, I met him in person at Caddo, and I realized how big that dude was.
He's a monster.
He's big. He's a monster. And so they were both on PAs, same boats. Of course, and Brandon, I think, was bigger than his buddy. And they were side by side, NK180 Pro versus NK180. And Brandon just absolutely smoked him, walked away from him. So it's, on average, people ask, like, well, how much faster is it? And when I say it's, I would say conservatively on average 0.3 to 0.5 miles an hour. And people look at that number and, that's not that fast. I'm like, on a kayak,
it is when you're getting left behind trying to get to a spot. Like it is fast. When you see everybody else pulling away from you, that's when you realize how fast something is.
Yeah. You know how that feels. You know how that feels,
it's relative, but it still hurts. It still stings.
You know how that feels. Yeah.
If you do it as a percentage of how fast you're going to begin with, it's a pretty good size number when you're talking about half a mile an hour and when you're only going 4 or 5.
Here's a good question: Is the Outback fast? And I would assume, me guessing from the weight and the hull shape, that yes, if you strap a motor on an Outback, it is fast. I think with an Outback, what you run into is how much weight you can put in it. So you got to look at what motor you're putting on, what size battery, all your tackle, and it's kind of it feels cramped fishing out of it for me. Like I knocked stuff over the side.
The Outback's still a 12-foot, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I think it's like 12 and a half, something like that.
12 and a half. You're still not, you got to get above that 13-foot range. Like anything above 13 feet and narrow is going to be faster. It's just length, just water line in the water, right? So, just kind of how it goes. But
can I put trim tabs on my Outback and make it faster?
Dude, that's something that.
Come on, Wizard. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Looks like John Dalton, Creek Fishing Adventures, just got his NK 180 Pro in yesterday. Now to put it on his kayak. Wonder if he's going to put it on his. I don't know how many kayaks he has, but I know he fishes out of an Old Town Sportsman 120 a lot of times. How do people rig those? That's what I fish out of, Ramel. The Sportsman has 2 places in the back offset. Does it still run offset like that in those power pole mounting areas?
Yeah, it runs okay offset. The only problem is when you offset the motor, that water that comes off the hull is a little dirty, right? It's got air bubbles in it. It's not as smooth as it is from directly behind. So you got to run your motor a little bit deeper than you normally would to get away from that. Or a lot of people are doing like the aerofoils that some people make online or something like that. They'll add that on, and that takes away a lot of the. People say cavitation. It's not cavitation. It's ventilation. I guess cavitation is completely different, though. But it just cleans up the water flow going into the prop.
I would like to see somebody make like an aluminum mount that comes out of that offset part and goes around behind the rudder. So you could still run some sort of motor steering, but it's center mounted in the hull. Like that'd be clutch.
I would like somebody, what would be better is somebody to make a bracket where you relocate the rudder behind the motor.
Yeah.
You keep the motor in the fixed position. So the motor doesn't turn, but the rudder still turns like a real boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would work.
You hear that, Tim Percy? Come on, man.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm hoping Percy fires up his machine there.
Yeah. I've got a few.
Got a machine running in the garage right now.
Yeah, Fish says, what about dual outboards? How would you run dual outboards, man? I mean, you can't sync those up, right? Would that be a mess?
Yeah, no, it's hard to do that because the amount of a lot of the times they take water away from each other. So because they'd have to be like super close, and they don't have the RPM to push water past that fast. So they would literally like create like disturbances for themselves, and they wouldn't be as efficient as you think or as fast as you think it should be.
See, no DP for you, Fish. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, sorry, unfortunately. Well, that's why some people that run like bow mount and DP guys, right? Some guys will run the bow mount and the rear mount at the same time. But the problem is sometimes if the bow mount water is not clean up at the bow, it generates disturbances and that feeds into your rear motor. So you got to play with that a little bit if you do that, which I did.
Yeah, I ran both, and it was like a little, like slightly over 5 miles an hour, and to me, it wasn't worth the the extra weight and junk in the boat.
No, yeah, no, man. I tell you what, like a lot of the trends right now, it's funny. It's like I got sucked into the trend, and I went and bought. I replaced my graphs, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go away from that. I had dual 7s or something like that. Now I got one 12-inch HDS Pro, and I hate it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like it's just, I that's just me. Like I don't like a big old screen in front of me. It's like,
which is ironic from the guy that rigs up big old screens on people's butts.
Dude, I mean, I will tell people all the time. I'm like, dude, I don't recommend this because what scares me is for some reason I have a lot of gentlemen that are older gentlemen and sometimes a little bit not athletic, I guess you could say, right? So my fear is with all this stuff in their boats. So you got dual 10-inch graphs and batteries and all this junk. You flip that boat over, you're not flipping it back over.
Right.
No.
And like it's weird because I tell people, they're asking me like, oh, how do you strap your batteries down? I'm like, I don't. I want that battery to go away because I want to flip my kayak back over.
Yep.
I would rather have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather have all my stuff go off the boat and me being able to flip my boat back over to get back on it.
Yeah, people forget, man. We're in small pieces of plastic here that aren't necessarily made for all of the things we put on them. You know,
and that's
it's
something
crazy
to take into account too. Like when people were complaining about canceling day one at Possum Kingdom, there's a reason. Like everybody's out there rigged out with borderline, weight capacity on these kayaks. If something does happen, not that not guaranteed that it will, but if something does, your chances decrease a lot of being able to safely self-rescue in that situation.
I wonder, we can't do a poll on here with all the social medias on the same chat, but how many people have come straight, they're not kayakers, they came straight into this just to fish, have actually gone out and flipped their boat and tried to even get back in it, tried to flip it back over, have ever tried to do that? I would wonder what the percentage would be.
1% probably.
Yeah, less
than 1%, slim to none. And it's funny, because I was trying to explain this to somebody, and because they were talking about dual black packs, and they wanted it's like 40 pounds or 50 pounds of batteries in their black packs and whatnot. And I was just trying to explain to them, if you flip your kayak over, those batteries stay in the black pack, they drop down. So trying to flip that back over with an extra 50 pounds of weight, you're not flipping it over. It's just not happening, And it's like, I'll never flip my boat. I'm like, don't say never. Like it could happen. And so there's got to be a thing where, like I said, I've said it before. It's like, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right?
I watched a YouTube video on it. Does that count? If it was an Alex Fogiera does it flip video, then no, it does not count.
Anyways, I got an exciting week. I'll actually be in North Carolina next week at the Big Adventure Factory for the week.
Okay.
I'll be hanging out there.
Tell Tyler and Woody I said what's up.
I will. I got a Airbnb, and you guys want to come hang out? Hit me up.
There's plenty to do in Asheville, in the Asheville area.
Yeah, I've never been, so I'm excited to go. We're gonna be kind of hanging out at the doing a build at the Big Adventure Factory. I'm gonna do a tour, working with a bunch of engineers over there, so it's gonna be fun. I'll be there from flying in on Sunday and leaving on Thursday.
I may swing up and see you, man. We'll do a game in Asheville where you try to pick out who's from Asheville, like actually lives there, and who's just homeless. We'll play a game.
Hey, Ramel, before you slide out here, man, I have to ask you real quick, since you called in. We appreciate you calling in. It turned into like a half a Ramel show, which is great.
I love it.
In the last few months, all of a sudden we see Newport end with BOS. We see the pro staff blow up with Newport. What's behind the marketing push? It seems like it's been a more visible push this year on the marketing space with pro staff, pro team, partnering with tournament organizations. What went into that? Where did that come from?
Well, honestly, just looking at where we are as a company in the last 2.5 years, where we came from when I first came on. I've been with Newport for 4 years now, I think. And just kind of looking at our customer base and how that's changed from, we used to be dinghies and just normal trolling motors, and our customer base is kayakers and small boaters. That's our customer base. And even more so kayakers and small boaters. We're trying to, that market's really tough. Small, fish, tiny boat stuff, that stuff is hard. We're a kayak company or kayak motor company. And so what better way to even grow more is you step your foot on the gas and you go, right? And that's what we're doing right now. We're bringing on, ambassadors, and we're really looking into large tournaments and just being more involved. And with that, we are able to take what we make and put that into R&D. And that R&D goes into better products for kayakers and small boaters. So that's our focus. And our core focus at Newport now is strictly, literally, kayakers and small boat fishing, quote unquote, right? That's the focus of our company now. So that's where you're seeing that start to trickle through social media, so on and so forth. So
I love it. I'm glad. I love seeing the involvement. I think it's one thing to sell a product just to kayak anglers, but to support the series and support the anglers, that's huge.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and like this year we're really looking forward to ICAST. ICAST is going to be. We have a big booth at ICAST this year.
You're actually making me want to go. I didn't want to go. Now I kind of want to go just to see what you got.
Buddy, come hang out, dude. We got an island booth. We got a big center. Like,
all right,
going big this
then.
year. We got some cool stuff coming out. So
awesome.
It's gonna be cool. Hopefully, we don't have somebody fall out of his kayak on demo day,
bro. I hope you do, because that was hilarious. That was like, gosh, you can't make that any better. We've got a couple, I say a lot, of questions revolving around GPS and spot lock. Is that, I don't want you to give anything away, but is that something that is on the consideration board in the future here?
It's always on the consideration board. That market is very interesting, for sure. It's definitely, a lot of people think it's, I think, bigger than it actually is. The portions of, if you talk about bow mount to rear mount motor, rear mount still wins 10-1. And we're talking, it's not just not like tournament fishing. We know is like a very, very small portion of the kayak fishing market, right? As a whole, it's like 10-1. Like, so it's, but I'm not going to say that it's, not a conversation point, but it is. So, I mean, it's going to be there for a little while, but we'll see. See what happens.
Well, if you guys want to get in on the podcast market, I know a couple guys, they run a great kayak fishing podcast. Love to bring Newport in.
Finger on the pulse of the sport.
There you go.
We got our finger somewhere, I'll say that.
Yeah. Check it. Yeah. Like it. Well,
we appreciate you, sir. We appreciate all you do for the sport. And you've called in a couple times during these call-in shows. We didn't even plan it or anything like that, and it's been great information, great feedback.
Love to hear from you. One of the greatest minds in the kayak fishing game, right here.
Dude, I'm just blessed to be in the game. I love it. So,
keep doing it,
I wish I
man.
could fish more though, but maybe one day.
You'll get there. Keep grinding.
Yeah. Well, come down to Asheville and visit me next week, man. Like I said, I'll be there from Monday through Thursday. So.
All right. I'll touch base with you next week for sure.
For sure.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you, sir.
Later.
All right, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
Ramel Labrador, everybody. That was awesome. I appreciate when he calls in.
He is a wealth of information. Honestly, like when it comes to rigging and knowledge about multiple brands of kayaks, he's rigged everything. Like he knows the ins and outs, the pros and cons of everything. So shout out to Ramel. Always glad to have him on.
Hey, I just saw this. What's going on here? What's this?
James Snyder sent it to me. I told him to get a tattoo of Kayak Bass Nation, and he just sent me that on his calf. So I told him to
photoshopped, but
I told him to lick his finger and rub it. I want to see if it's real.
One show giving Cali some love, and he gets a tattoo.
Hey, that's all we needed. Let's get Bassmasters back to Cali. Let's get a Hobie back to Cali. Come on, start the rally cry.
What part that makes me believe it is he actually wore matching socks with it.
I mean, if you zoom in on it, it is definitely on his skin. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's some sort of drawing or a carnival prize or what. It's definitely on his skin. I'll give credit there.
Like a lick 'em, stick 'em situation there.
That's my motto. Okay. I tried to stop it. This Gatorade Zero, man, it's got me feeling some type of way.
Yeah, I feel you. Oh my God.
Oof.
Well, that was. I mean, we're up against the hour. I can't believe that the call-in show went by that fast. We didn't have a lot of callers tonight, but they were all quality.
Very high quality.
Very high quality. He can't draw. James, please. Is it real? Real or fake? No.
Abel, check that thing. I need a welfare check on the KBN tattoo.
Can you call in and like rub that thing?
FaceTime your leg? What?
Yeah.
Could you call in and rub that? I feel like Bob's gonna call back if we say that too many more times.
Call in and rub something. We don't want to see that, Bob. Stay away from here. Sure.
Holy cow.
My word. All right, so we're gonna do our Seaguar giveaway tonight, y'all. And because I messed it up last week,
Yes,
the hashtag tonight is Octohole.
Octohole.
For those that don't know what that is, I'm sorry you didn't watch last week, but that is a new cornhole game.
You need to know. It's a lot of fun, a lot of group involvement.
Yeah, 8.
Yeah, 8 as a matter of fact. Root word octo.
Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh.
Never thought I'd see Diggs tagged him at Octohole. I don't know if there's a channel named Octohole, but there probably is. You probably didn't get banned for saying that.
I don't know if we need to pull them in on this. We've had a great night so far.
Yeah. We've got Octa with an A, Octohole. I don't know if that's going to get it or not.
Y'all just freehand this, man. Whatever you got in your heart, get it out.
Yeah. If you get a chance and you get invited to play, I
do it.
Highly recommend.
Do it. Jump into the Octohole for sure.
That's a fun show, man. I know the call-ins are always a risk, but it always turns out good, man.
Honestly, this year's been pretty smooth though. We haven't had any major disruptions or thievery or anything crazy going on. So it's been I feel like we're turning a corner. Things are starting to kind of smooth out and drive themselves, thankfully. So I appreciate that.
It is election season. We need to come up with something outlandish to
lower gas prices. Can we do that?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Good Lord, Fish. I don't know who Fish is, but he's been on one tonight.
Yeah, he's having himself a day.
Yeah, we're up around 90 folks live still to get in on the Octohole giveaway. It's Seaguar giveaway, but Octohole giveaway. We only got about half the folks in the contest right now, so we'll give it another second or two, and we'll choose. I had some things I wanted to talk about tonight as far as
feel free. It's
rules
your show.
that I want to. Well, we're an hour into it. I'm going to let these people.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
We'll bring it up in the intro next week. Next week we've got some tournaments restarting. We got the Native No Limit up on St. Clair coming up. All American Kayak Classic coming up, and then we're back into the Hobie season over here in the border of Arkansas and Texas. So good stuff coming. Octomom, there is no Octomom, Diggs. Chill.
How you think Wright Patman's going to do?
Be honest with you, until they announced that lake on the schedule, I've never heard of it. I've never been there, and I'm from this area, so there you go.
Okay,
but it's in Texas. It's in May. Should be good.
Got to be big basses in there.
Yeah, they're around.
Is it cold at your house? I went fishing this morning, man, and it was freaking freezing. Wind was blowing. I wanted to get out on this full moon, try to catch some brownfish moving up, but it was brutal this morning.
Yeah, I broke my back all weekend throwing bark and planting plants, and then it got to like 35. We were afraid it was going to frost them and kill them all, but we hung in there. It was like 36. We were good this morning.
Johnny Maddox says it's a lot like Rayburn. So there you go.
We're good. Here we go.
Yeah.
That's we got Joe Denton with the double hashtag. He's going DP on the hashtags with double Octohole. All right. Let's do this giveaway before things really get out of hand.
Do it.
Here we go. Alabama Super Regional. Okay. The entire country is windy. There's a giant front moving through the whole country.
It's just straight wind out there.
Benjamin Burt on Facebook.
Slide in the DMs, Benjamin, with your mailing address, and I have 2 Seaguar winners and 2 Z-Man winners that will go out this week. I'll try to do them 2 at a time. That way I don't feel like they're just shipping stuff out constantly. So
Benjamin is watching. Heck yeah, he said. There you go, Benjamin. Winner chicken dinner. Yeah, man. Anything else for the folks before we wrap it up?
That's it. I'm done.
You're done?
Yep, I'm done.
Me too.
All right, let's run it back next week then.
See y'all.
Later.